You will make it through. The fitra is awake in you. With Quran and Sunnah by your side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. You will make it through. The fitra is awake in you. With Quran and Sunnah on your side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. With Quran and Sunnah on your side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. Sunnahfollowers presents a new hadith class taught by Ustada Laila Nasheeba, Riyadus Salihin, every Monday and Wednesday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you there. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnahfollowers. Surat Ibrahim, planting the tree of Tawheed, a Maqasidic Tafsir by Dr. Karim Abuzaid. Join us on Saturdays and Sundays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Ustada Laila Nasheeba, streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnahfollowers.
You're in traffic. Did you get Pamela's topic? Did you get her topic?
What I got was the effect of what's it called again? What is it called? Backbiting. Okay, and slander.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, I think it's the punishment. No, not the punishment. The effects of it, and I guess the punishment of doing it. Did I get it wrong?
Yeah, she wants to. That's the topic. So however you fix it up, however you word it up. Yeah, you know how you're good at that. Whatever you make it be. Yeah, that's what she wants to know. And what I'll do is I'll talk about the sins. I'll talk about the gravity of it, the sins, and what happens in the grave. All of that. I'll cover everything about it. Yeah, but that's her topic. Yeah, inshallah. Yeah, inshallah. Where are you driving at this time of night? Where you are?
I gotta get some dinner.
Oh.
I don't feel like cooking today.
Yeah, I didn't even eat anything today. Haven't even eaten. Drinking my coffee. That's it. Give me a couple seconds, guys. We're gonna start the class, but I'm waiting on. I ordered me some water. I don't have any water in the house, and they delivering my I got Instacart coming in. I don't want to start my class. I have to stop because she getting ready to. Hopefully she'll bring it to the door. I can't. Yeah. Let me see where they are. Does Instacart show you where the people are? How close she is to the house. Okay. Oh, let me set the PowerPoint up too. I'll wait. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I didn't want to log on that program. Y'all want me to? Okay, yeah, let me go ahead. Oh, I got some people here from that program. I'm sorry. Guess I'll log on to it again. Okay, here we go. I wasn't going to set it up. I got a couple of you guys in here. Okay, I'll set it up. Give me a minute. Oh, man. Oh, I didn't mean to say that. Uh-oh, hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Uh-oh, I messed up. Okay, here we go. Here I am. Okay. Okay, wait a minute. I think that's them. Let's see what it'll be in a couple of seconds. Okay, I set it up on there too. Yeah, everything's locked up. Walaikum salam. Hey, Pamela, your topic was backbiting and slander, right? You just want to know everything about it, right? What the punishment is, the gravity of it, everything about it, right? Walaikum salam, right? Okay, yeah, you get it. That's what it is, Geechee. Everything about it. Yeah, and I'll talk about it Friday. Yeah, I'm going to cover everything about it. The punishment in the grave. I'll talk about the day of judgment, what happens in the grave about it, the severity of it, what the hadiths, all of that. Yeah. Inshallah. Okay. Hold on, guys. Okay, let's go ahead and get. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I hear them come up the steps. Let me get my order. I'll be right back. I hear them coming up the steps. Oh, she's carrying that water. I ordered a big thing of water. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it wasn't them. It's my other neighbors. I thought it was them. It's my neighbors. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay. Inna alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. I'd like to welcome everybody to our Maqasidic Tafsir class. And tonight we're continuing with the Maqasidic Tafsir of Surat Ibrahim. And this is from the book written by Dr. Karim Abuzaid. And we've already discussed how this magnificent surah or chapter of the Quran, it details the story of the two trees, the parable of the two trees, in which Allah speaks about the metaphor set by Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Either you plant the tree of Tawheed or the tree of shirk within your personal heart. And we spent the first part of this chapter discussing the characteristics of the tree of Tawheed and the characteristics of the tree of Shirk. And so now we're going to get into the second part of this beautiful chapter, which speaks about the man himself, who was Prophet Abraham, alayhi salam. So let me put the PowerPoint up on the screen for tonight's discussion. And you will see how great a human being Prophet Abraham truly was. You will see why our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam loved him so much that he named his son after him. And you will see why our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that on the day of judgment, the first person that will be clothed will be Prophet Abraham alayhi salam. So we're going to continue with verses 31 through 41 of this amazing chapter of the Quran. We're going to speak about the Dawah of Prophet Abraham, how he protected his faith by reforming his entire society. And as we go over these verses of the Quran, I want everyone to take a good look at him and herself. I want each and every one of us to take a good look at ourselves. We all claim to be people giving dawah. I had a person ask me yesterday, is it considered dawah because you're sitting on a bus and you ask a non-Muslim their opinion of the situation in Gaza, and you explain your views about Gaza? Is that the way we invite to Tawheed? Is that the way we call to Allah? I want you guys to see how Prophet Abraham called to Allah. And then ask yourselves, are you inviting people to belief in Allah and his oneness and his magnificence, or are you engaging in political topics? So let's get started. Okay. So Prophet Abraham alayhi salam, he didn't just protect Tawheed within his heart. He fought for it. And by the way, Tawheed means belief in the oneness of Allah. We're supposed to call people to believe that there is no deity worthy of worship but Allah. That's what Tawheed means. Tawheed does not entail discussing the political situation in Iran. That's not calling to Allah. Discussing the political situation in Egypt, that's not calling to Allah. When the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent Mu'ad to Yemen, he said, call the people to Allah, teach them that there is no deity worthy of worship but Allah. Okay, that's Tawheed. You guys are discussing politics. You guys are not inviting people to believe in the oneness of Allah. That's the difference. And Prophet Abraham, he didn't just call himself to that belief and protect it. He called his entire society to that. And when the environment around him was filled with hostility and falsehood, he engaged in dawah not to win arguments like a lot of you Muslims today are doing, but he engaged in dawah to defend the tree of his heart by purifying the garden of belief around him, which is something that you Muslims today need to do, but you're not doing. So Prophet Abraham, he had to confront the people around him. And again, as we talked about, everything begins at home. He had to confront his father, the people of his household, and he confronted them with compassion and reasoning. And then he confronted Nimrod, who was the tyrant and the ruler, and he confronted him with bold, unshakable truth. And then he had to confront the people of the society who worshiped the stars. And he confronted them not with argument, but with logic and rhetorical clarity. And each debate was not just a refutation, it was a cultivation. And each argument was a branch of his tree, and it grew stronger with every stand that he presented of the truth. And after he engaged in this Dawah, he saw that he was getting nowhere. That's when he had no other choice but to migrate. And this is what we have to learn as Muslims. We have to know when to hold and when to fold. We have to know when it's time to move on. We have to know when to say, okay, enough is enough. We're not getting anywhere. When protection requires departure, that's what we have to learn. Okay? Not every environment can be purified. Remember, you can't make people accept the truth. You can't make a person convert to Islam. Allah makes Muslims, not you, not me. Something that I have to remind everyone of, including myself. There is no power, there is no might other than Allah. Allah is in control of the universe. Allah is in control of you and me. Only Allah can turn the heart of man, not you, not me. You can yell and scream and argue and debate all you want to, but unless Allah changes the heart of man, you're going to get nowhere. So when Abraham's people threatened his life, planned to burn him alive, Abraham, he did not cling to the earth. He knew it was time to move. It was time to make hijrah, to go somewhere else. And Allah tells us this in the interpretation of the meaning. They wanted to harm him, but we made them the worst of losers. And we saved him and Lot to the land which we have blessed for all people. So what he did, when he saw that he was getting nowhere with these people, not with his family, not with the people in society, he knew he had to move. So him and his nephew and his wife Sarah, Lot was his nephew, they left the country. So you have to learn as a Muslim that there comes a time when we have to fold. I have to this is it. I'm not going to get nowhere here. My life is in danger. I have to move. You can make all the dua you want to. You have to have common sense, as I talked about yesterday. Why would you go to a place that's inhabited by people who are haters, who are Ku Klux Klan? You don't go to a town of Ku Klux Klan people thinking that you're protected because you make a certain supplication. You have to have common sense. Like the prophet said, common sense. You stay away from those areas. Okay? Otherwise, you will be singing the Fatiha as they hang you by your throat, your neck, and you die with Fatiha on your lips. Okay? Well, Prophet Abraham and his nephew Lot and his wife Sarah were the only people in that whole city, the whole country, who believed in Allah. They knew it was time to go, so they left. They made hijrah. Otherwise, they would have been killed. So this teaches us a profound truth. Making hijrah, migrating, and struggling in the way of Allah and Dawah are not separate paths. They are part of the same journey to protect your belief in Allah and to live on and to pass it on. Why stay in a place and let the people kill you? And then there's no one to carry the message of Allah on. If Abraham knew, he knew if he had stayed there in that country, the people would have killed him. They would have killed his nephew, killed his wife, and there would have been no one left in that whole country to carry on the words of Allah. So let me move on. So the same with you young kids. Why would you go to a city of Ku Klux Klan people knowing that they're going to kill you? And there'll be no one left to carry on the words of Allah. That's stupidity. You have to use common sense. You trust in Allah, but also use your common sense. Allah hates ignorance. Allah hates ignorant people. Okay? So, the first step, remember, in planting the tree of Tawheed is not to speak, but to prepare. And remember, we talked about that yesterday in my Islam Q&A. The special topic was how to prepare for the worst. Remember, I told you guys, the Prophet Muhammad said, always prepare and always expect the worst. That way you can handle whatever comes your way. So the first step in planting the tree of Tawheed is to prepare for it. And how do we prepare? You prepare your heart by purifying the soil. Remember, we talked about that. And then you have to prepare your mind. How do you prepare your mind? By clearing it of all those doubts and all those suspicions that Shaitan puts in it. And this is good advice for us as women every day of our lives. This is something that we sisters suffer with. One of the reasons as to why there's going to be more women in hell than men is because we women are more emotional than men. It's easy for us women to overthink things. That's why the Prophet said a woman can never be a ruler, because we're too emotional. We overthink. But that's also why you brothers, you are supposed to balance us out. You brothers have to be good husbands to us. You brothers have to do your job as a Muslim husband to make sure you are fulfilling your role to us women, to make sure that we don't overthink, to make sure that we don't allow our emotions to get the better of us. The Prophet Muhammad, he knew that Aisha radiallahu anha was young. He knew that Aisha was jealous. He knew that Aisha was more emotional than he otherwise because of her youth. So he did his job to balance her out, to keep her balanced, okay? To keep her mind from over wondering and overthinking. But how many of you brothers today do that? He made dua for Salama to balance her jealousy out. You brothers, are you giving your wives reason to be insecure? Are you brothers falling short in your obligations as a husband Is that the reason why your wives get in their head and your wives are insecure? Your wives are overthinking. It's because of you. See? Clear mind. A clear mind. A clear mind. Okay? The first step in planting the tree of Tawheed, the first step in planting certainty of faith, the first step in planting security within yourself is first purifying the heart, and the second, and also clearing the mind and making sure your intentions are sincere. Y'all see that? Then comes knowledge. Then comes conviction and the boldness to defend it. See, this can apply in a lot of instances in our marriages and a lot of other things too. See why it's important to learn this religion. The Quran is the psychologist for a lot of stuff. This is your life coach. The life coach for the Muslim is the Prophet Muhammad. Keep telling y'all. All right. So, Prophet Abraham, alayhi salam, he didn't just grow a tree. He cultivated a legacy rooted in truth, which rose into worship, and it extended out into generations, which included our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So each and every one of us as a believer should ask ourselves, is my heart ready for Tawheed? I want all the Muslim youth listening to me. You need to ask yourself, is your heart ready for Tawheed? Are you building the trunk of your tree with sincerity and love for Allah? And when needed, do you have the courage to defend that sincerity and that love for Allah, or to walk away and protect it like Prophet Abraham did? Because you're going to see, we're going to go over his story now. Okay, he knew when to walk away to protect it. He defended it with his family and his countrymen. But when he saw it got too intense with them trying to kill them, he knew to gather his wife and his nephew, who were the only believers there, and walk away. This is what you're going to be asking yourself from here on out. Am I ready to plant that tree? Am I building that tree with sincerity towards Allah and love for Him? And if I have to defend it or walk away to protect that, am I willing to do that? Do I have the courage to do it? So now let's go to Prophet Abraham, alayhi salam, the man, his story. From the idols of his father to the pride of kings to the worship of the heavens, Abraham, alayhi salam, stood alone for the truth until the truth became his legacy. Once the tree of Tawheed is firmly rooted in the heart and anchored with knowledge of Allah, and it's watered with sincerity towards Allah, and it's cultivated through submission to Him, it must be guarded and it must be protected against the storms of society, because this is where the actual test begins. Not just believing privately in Allah, you're going to have to defend your belief in Allah publicly, guys. Remember, Allah tells us in the Quran, just because we say we believe in Him is not enough. We're going to have to prove it. Allah is going to subject us to test every day of our lives. I'm tested every day. I'm pretty sure most all of you are. And the things you love the most in this world, they're going to be the greatest tests. I'm tested with my children. You're going to be tested with yours. You're going to be tested with your health, your money, your parents, your school, your job, your husband, your wives, your clothes, your health, your cats, whatever you love the most, your car, it's going to be your test, your website, your knowledge. So, in this section of this beautiful chapter, we're going to walk through it with Abraham, alayhi salam. We're going to see him be confronted with different things. We're going to see how he deals with idolatry being thrown at him. We're going to see how he handles political arrogance being thrown his way. We're going to see how he handles cosmic delusion being thrown his way. And these were not just theological debates. They were acts of dawah, resistance, and spiritual leadership, each one strengthening him, clarifying his mission, and preparing him for the final step that he had to make in sacrifice, which is migration, known as hijrah. And Prophet Abraham didn't only believe in Allah. You're going to see he lived for Allah. He spoke for Allah. And ultimately, he walked away and left everything behind for Allah. How many of us are willing to do that? How many of us would do that? Very few. So tonight we're going to go over the first debate that he had to contend with. And this was the confrontation of idolatry. How did he deal with living in a society, a world in which people worshiped idols? Well, he dealt with it through reasoning and love. And you will find these verses in Surat Al-Anbiya and Surat Maryam. Prophet Abraham's first and most personal confrontation with disbelief wasn't with the tyrants or kings. It's just like most of you, many of you who are new converts. You didn't have to deal with the president of the USA or a king. Your first confrontation after embracing Islam is usually with your parents, your family members. Well, Prophet Abraham, he had to deal with his family, his father, a man whom he loved deeply. Yet his own father was a person who was an idol maker. He used to make idols and he used to worship them. As Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning and mention the story of Abraham. Indeed, he was a man of truth and he was a prophet. From the very beginning, Abraham's dawah was marked by compassion, gentleness, and respect. He did not begin by blaming or condemning others for what they believed in, like you see a lot of people doing today. But instead, he addressed them with affection. He went to his father and he said, "Oh, my dear father, why do you worship that which neither hears nor sees and cannot help you in anything?" So here you can see he confronts the false deities, not by making fun of them or ridiculing them, but he confronts it with rationality. He says, "You make them. They didn't make you. They can't hear you. They can't see you. And if you talk to them, they can't even answer you back. They're powerless. They can't protect you. They can't do anything, but you worship them. So he used logic. So this wasn't just theology. Ibrahim was confronting his father with reason and love. He was trying to protect his father from being humiliated. He was trying to protect him from the tragedy of bowing to a lifeless rock. He said, "Oh, my father, indeed there has come to me knowledge that has not come to you. So follow me, and I will guide you to a straight path." This verse shows that he didn't approach his father with arrogance, but instead he approached him gently and respectfully with leadership. He didn't come off as being superior. He invited his father to walk beside him, not behind him, but beside him on a clear, safe road. That's how you should approach your parents. When you're trying to invite your parents to Islam, you don't talk about the Gaza situation with them. You invite them to Allah with reason. You know, why would you pray to a statue of Mary? Why would you pray to the dead who cannot hear you, who cannot see you? You know, why would you refer to something as being the son of God when God has no wife, no mother, and all of that? With logic and reason. And then he tells his father, he says, "Oh, my father, do not worship Shaitan, because indeed Shaitan is disobedient to Allah. Oh, my father, indeed I fear that a punishment from Allah may befall you." So here, Prophet Abraham is warning his father. And he's telling him, "I fear what Allah may do to you." He's not telling him, "I fear what this idol may do." So this shows the love in the form of Dawah, the truth without ego, correction without alienation, that Prophet Abraham used to call or invite his father to the truth. But even with all this gentleness and rationale, his father still refused to accept the truth. His father said, "Are you turning away from my gods, O Ibrahim? If you do not stop, I will surely stone you. So leave me alone for a long time." So his father rejected him. And Abraham didn't do like a lot of you do. He knew when to hold and when to fold. He wasn't persistent. A lot of you say, "Oh, Sister Laila, should I keep on and on and on?" No, that's it. Don't be persistent. You'll turn people off. You'll make people hate you. You'll make people hate the fact that you're trying to force something on them. Abraham left his father alone. He didn't try to force it on him. When his father said, "Leave me alone, I don't want to hear it," he left him alone. And then he went outside of his father to the rest of the people. He approached the people then with firmness and clarity. As Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning, Abraham went to the people outside the home and said, "What are these statues to which you are so devoted?" And they gave him the same answer that people give today. They said, "Oh, we found our forefathers worshiping them, so we worship them too." So Ibrahim alayhi salam challenged them with courage. He said, then indeed you and your forefathers are in clear error. And they made fun of him. They said, have you brought the truth to us, or are you just playing games with us? And he told them, he said, no, your Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth. He's the one who created them. And I am simply one of those who bear witness to this. And when he made this statement, this made them think. Okay? And then he destroyed their idols, except the largest one. He left the largest one standing, and he put the X next to the largest one. And when the people came and found all the other idols destroyed, they said, who destroyed our idols, our statues? And he said, ask the big one. The X is standing next to him. Ask him if he did it. If he can speak. See the logic he used. He wanted them to see how silly it was that they were worshiping something that couldn't even defend itself. So they turned to one another and they said, you yourselves are truly the wrongdoers, because they could see how foolish it was that they were worshiping something that couldn't even answer them back and defend themselves. But they still could not overcome their arrogance. And that's what caused them to come back into denial of the truth. And they responded to him. They said, Ibrahim, you know that the idols can't speak. And he said, but yet you worship them. He said, why do you worship them besides Allah when they can't benefit you? They can't harm you. He says, shame on you and what you worship besides Allah. Will you not then use your brain and your reasoning? So this is the Dawah that Prophet Abraham used. He used reasoning, logic to try to appeal to the people. He didn't use politics, the type of argument that you guys use today. He didn't use the ridicule and your book versus my book that you guys use today. How many of us do this? He called the people to Allah. He didn't call them to politics. He called the people to believe that there is no deity worthy of worship other than Allah. He didn't call them to anything other than that. Like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said when he sent Mu'ad, when he sent Abu Musa Ash'ari, when he sent Ali, when he sent any ambassador out to give dawah, he said, call the people to Tawheed first, and only when they accept and understand that, then tell them about the prayers. Then tell them about the zakat. He didn't mention nothing about a political situation in Iran or the political situation in America. The political situation no, we don't talk politics. In fact, he told them, whenever the Prophet sent an ambassador out, he said, and stay away from the politics. He told them, do not get involved in the politics of the land, because Allah is the one that's in control of all of that anyway. Allah is the one in control of the politics. You just called the people to believe in Allah. You call them to believe that there is no power, there is no might other than Allah. That's Tawheed. That's our job. And that's what you Shahada should be doing when you're trying to give dawah to your non-Muslim family members. And for those of you who do have Muslim family members, when you're trying to teach your children to practice the deen, call them back to practicing, you start off by teaching them Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, calling them back to believe in the oneness of Allah first. Then that other stuff, then the prayer, then the zakat, the fasting, and all of that. The Muslim girl, the dress too. We got it backwards. We got it twisted. Polygamy shouldn't even be in a discussion at all. At all. What they got to do with anything? Y'all talking about the wrong stuff. All right. So I'm going to stop right here. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Any questions or comments? Questions or comments? Yes, like Sister Aya said, she said, I like the part of not over pressing. Exactly. And a lot of you keep over pressing the issue. We don't over press it. Like you got to know when to hold and when to fold. You know, his father said, I don't want to hear no more about that stuff. You back off. This misconception that Muslims have that we keep on and on and on and on pressing it, throwing something down a person's throat. We don't do that. There's no compulsion in Islam. You back off. You're going to make a person hate you. You're going to make a person run away from you. And we do it with our kids too. You know, give them a break. Back off. Exactly. Yes. Any questions anywhere else?
Laila, you said to call them back to Allah's oneness.
That's Tawheed, that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah. That's Tawheed. That's what Tawheed means. That there is no
The Muslim people who are Muslim. You said
the same thing. You get Tawheed or Rububiyyah. That's what, yeah. You got to teach the kids that only Allah is the only the deity worthy of worship, because Muslims worship sex. We worship everything but Allah too. You love cigarettes more than you do Allah. You love them drugs more. You tell your teenage kids, what you mean you can't stop smoking marijuana? Your love for marijuana is greater than your love for Allah. You're supposed to love Allah more than cigarettes, more than marijuana, more than sex. What do you mean you can't stop having sex? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the drug addict will be raised up as a, this is an authentic hadith. What's the source? Sahih Muslim. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the adulterer will be raised up as a kafir on the day of judgment. Why? Because he took his love for sex over his love for Allah. Another hadith, the alcoholic will be raised up as a kafir on the day of judgment. Why? Because he took his love for alcohol over his love for Allah. You tell your kids these hadiths. These are hadiths I grew up on. Okay, that my parents scared the heck out of me. That's why I ain't never smoked no weed or drink. I ain't gonna be raised up as no kafir, because you addicted to drugs, you addicted to sex, you addicted to alcohol. Your love for drugs and your love for sex is greater than your love for Allah. You've taken your love for your desires and these things over Allah. That's what you instill in your kids as they're growing up. That's Tawheed. We don't worship nothing but Allah. Only Allah is worthy of worship, guys. Y'all put that in your kids' heads at the age of 7. so they don't go up and scare them. I was scared straight. I ain't had no boyfriends. To this day, I don't talk to men on the internet. If y'all see me messaging a man, I'm messaging him about this website. Y'all know me. I don't private message nobody. I'll send messages to Dr. Jamali and them. It's about this website. Any man I'm messaging, y'all best believe if I'm having a conversation with a dude, we married. Seriously, whether you know it or not, Laila married. I don't private message no dude unless it's business. I don't play that. That's why I don't accept no messages. I don't do that. I fear Allah. My parents put that in me at the age of 7. I'm scared. My stepfather used to tell me if you bump into somebody, you're going to have a baby. I used to believe that silly stuff. Latifa, remember that? I'll never forget that silly stuff. He used to tell me. I used to believe that silly stuff. Back in my day, 60s and 70s, they used to scare us. And I'm still scared. I was screw up scared of that stuff. You got to do that. It's how them kids don't do that stuff. Scared of drugs. I'm hypochondriac anyway. Yeah, play that stuff. Yeah, y'all got to scare these kids straight. Yeah, she know that. You from this? Yeah, you remember back in the days. You from the 60s too. Yeah, girl, you got to scare these kids. They don't scare these kids no more. These kids ain't scared. They don't have no higher like we had. They don't private message. Girl, please, I'd be scared.
And these kids don't scare easy anymore.
Hey, Tiva, you remember? I'm getting ready to tell you something. You remember what y'all told me about them glasses? I'm supposed to wear glasses, y'all. I never would wear them. I used to break them. You better
you gonna bump into somebody and get pregnant.
Yeah, I remember that. My mother and Yahya took me to get some brand new glasses. I came and tore them up with my hands, broke them on purpose. I was 12 years old? You better put those glasses on. You're going to bump into somebody and look down. You're going to be having a baby. Remember that?
Oh, my goodness. Man.
He said, you won't be able to see. I said, I'm not wearing no glasses. I'm not wearing glasses. I look ugly in glasses. Better put those glasses on. You ain't going to be able to see where you're walking. You're going to bump into somebody and look down. You're going to be having a baby. I said, well, I ain't wearing no glasses. I ain't having no babies either. I was scared. Yeah, I ain't wearing no glasses.
Nowadays, they also claim that turns. They also claim that that's trauma for children to go through that.
It traumatized me, all right. I stay in the house still, don't I?
Hey, they could be like, I'm gonna look this up.
Girl, my stepfather used to tell me all kind of crazy stuff.
Oh God. You gotta really
bump into somebody.
And we was just told if you kiss a boy,
the fake baby that they used to make you go home with.
Bump into somebody, you're gonna have a baby.
The dog that have the key in the backwards to stop crying. This ain't gonna help them.
May Allah bless Yahya and forgive him of his sins. Girl, he used to make up some crazy stuff and tell me. And I'd sit there and say, I ain't having no babies and I ain't wearing no glasses.
Oh, God. I was telling my husband, Sister Laila, I said, nowadays with these kids, they're going to go straight to the internet to find out if it's true or not. When we were growing up, they used to send you home with a baby that would keep on crying, and they would have to put a key and turn it for it to stop crying.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. My mother didn't let me take that class. I remember that. Remember that, Latifa? They'd give you that baby in class. A baby down.
I didn't get that part.
Yeah, my mother didn't allow me to participate. She went to that. My mother dressed in all black. Her and Kalima. Her and Sister Kalima went to the school. I was in Luludale, all girls school. I went to all girls schools. They ain't had no Muslim schools when I was growing up in the 70s. We had a Luludale all girl junior high school, and I went to Jane Addams all girl high school. I was in Luludale. My mother was dressed in all black, hijabs hanging to the ground. Her and Kalima. They went up to the school. My mother told them she ain't taking that class because she ain't having no babies, and we ain't bringing no pretend white baby dolls home into her house either. My mother said she got baby brothers that she takes care of for real. So I didn't take that class.
Okay.
They say it's part of the curriculum. Everyone has to take this class. It's part of home economics. My mother said, home economics, my foot. She ain't taking it. Oh, hold on for a second. Assalamu alaikum. Hold on, let me end this class. Okay, guys, let me log out. Assalamu alaikum. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Shut online. Anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum. Let me close this off.